What's up, everybody? We got a big project ahead of us right now. We might have got a little bit too deep, some would say, but we're gonna transform this shit box, this rust bucket, into a premium drift truck. The diff is welded. This thing's ready to get down, but it's got a lot of body work we got to get done first. And the color is not available right now. You guys can't see it. He does not want anybody to know about it until we wrap it. This is a surprise. So I know a lot of his followers are looking in on my page right now because of this special project we got here. But sorry guys, you can't see it till the end upon his request. But we'll probably post some black and whites for you. So today we're getting into grinding down this roof a little bit because we noticed in the front that there was some rust buildup coming through like the Bondo and whatnot. Up here there was a little bit of unevenness, and I wanted to fix that, so I went and grinded this down too. I found some holes and some more rust. It's important that you get the rust out beforehand, because if you just go and primer or Bondo over this rust, the rust is still going to spread, you know what I mean? And it's going to end up tearing up this roof. It's going to end up tearing all this stuff up. So we got all the rust out of these parts here on the A-pillar, completely grinded it all out. We sanded it out. We used like a rust, something to get the rust out, a chemical. And then after that, we were able to fill it and sand it and get it to look really smooth and nice like this. Up here, it seems like I'm grinding it away, and as I keep going, there's just more rust. So if you get a close look up here, you can see there's actually some holes here. It kept on going, and it started going through it. So as I'm grinding, it's like a quick example. I grinded into the Bondo, just not even a ½ inch up here, and there's still more rust up here. So in theory, I mean, here, all this right here, this is all Bondo. That's the roof right there. This all being Bondo right here, there's a high chance that all of this is rusty. We don't know. This could end up being a pretty big project, but we'll find out. I'm going to grind it away as much as I can to see if I can get as much of this rust out as I can. Then we're going to sand it down, get it pretty smooth, fill it up, or fill in, the small holes and stuff like that. That way it doesn't keep spreading. And that's what we're working on tonight. Alright, so everything with the exception of the tailgate is prepped and ready to wrap. As you can see, we did one fender so far. It has a nice color, nice and glossy. We haven't even cleaned this yet. It's got some smudges and stuff on there, some fingerprints from when we wrapped it, but man, that looks good. And then this is the other fender. So what we did here is we, on the top, he actually had some like mirrors installed. We took the holes that were there before and we kind of banged them in just a little bit to have like a spot for the primer to fill into. Primered over them, or we Bondoed them in, then primered over it, and then wet sanded it down. And now the whole thing's smooth, ready for wrap. If you have any like rough spots or anything that you can feel with your hands before you wrap it, then it's gonna show through, so you don't want that. And then down on the sides of the bed, in the before video you can see it had handles here, right there, right here, in the back. It had 3 handles per side. So the same thing, we filled those in, primered over them, wet sanded everything. Down on the bottoms here, there was actually a groove that went all the way across right here. it was a point where this bottom piece and this top piece connected. The way that the factory connected the two of those, you can kind of see a little bit still here we gotta work with. But the way that the factory connected the two of those is with like a body sealant or something, and it stuck out pretty far. And it wasn't a problem for the wrap. We were gonna go ahead and wrap over it, but we found that in the sides of that actual seam, there's rust buildup, and the only way to get that out was to grind it out. So we went ahead with the wire wheel, got the rust out, and then got it all smooth all the way down. Put a hair of Bondo over it, primered it, made it nice, so it's nice and smooth now. Front and back, both sides obviously. On the top here, you had a couple holes here, something like here. I think there was like 3 or 4 per side. It looks like maybe in the past, whoever had this truck put like some kind of bed cover over it. We filled those in as well. But you could see the difference right here from the nice primered smooth surface and what it used to look like. This is still has to be done right here on the tailgate. But yeah, it's all rusty, it's all rough and lumpy. We're gonna have to get this prepped and nice too. We're gonna take this Datsun lettering off. We're gonna fix all this little stuff, these rust marks. Right here's pretty rusted out and dented, if you can see from the side. We're gonna have to get all this rust out, sand it down, get the dents out, all that kind of stuff. Up in here, up in the top, all this stuff's gonna be taken care of. And then if you look at the back of the cab, back here we have some primer on it. Over there's a little dirty because we were wet sanding, but this was actually, it had a bunch of chipping paint, a bunch of rust buildup. I got the wire wheel and I got all that rust off and then sanded it down smooth, primered over it, so all that stuff's gone too. As for the doors, these holes are still for the current mirrors that he has installed. This used to have like those old like trucker style mirrors, so it had like 2 massive holes here, and then there was a hole that was right here on the pillar, one up here on the pillar, but over time they rusted out really badly. So somebody put like some kind of cover on it, as you could see in like the intro video. And then down here was just a hole and they were all rusted out. So we got all that rust out, filled them in, primer over it, looks good, ready to go. Up here we had to do some minor finishing touches. We're gonna sand these down, primer them. These are already primered, or this one is. And we're gonna paint these black just to go with the theme of everything. Get like a nice satin black on there. The front bumper is gonna stay black. The front grille is gonna stay black, so it's gonna even everything out. The hood and fenders we plan on wrapping today. And then this cowling piece, there's actually a grill that goes right here. Sanded that down, got it nice and clean, ready to go for a wrap as well. And yeah, this is the starting process of us getting into the wrap. I'd say right now we're about 2.5 weeks deep on the prep. Definitely a lot of prep work for this, but when it's all finished up, it's gonna be worth it. This side was same thing. This side was actually the worst, probably the worst part of the entire truck. It had a hole from like here all the way down to like here. Just all rust, and it was rusted out really bad. We got this in like right up in next to that seal. So yeah, there's no more holes there. Up in the top here, we just put this on right now. But up in the top here, this was a big hole, and it was just leaking water into the truck whenever you'd wash it. We got some cleaning to do on the seals and stuff, but as for this, there's nothing we could do with that. That's gonna be, we either remove these or, I mean, it looks like somebody might have tried to weld these in the past, and there were a bunch of bubbles and stuff from the welding, and it just didn't work out. It looks like it blew a hole straight through it. But that's nothing we can do anything about, unfortunately. So that might be one of the only flaws left over after we're finished. Alright, so I have Steve here. He's priming that chrome piece. We did a light sand on them before we did any spraying of any sort. That way it can stick better. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and prime these pieces, and then we're gonna paint them black. We're painting them black to give it a nice look, to give it some contrast with the rest of the car, and it's gonna look good. Then over on this side, we already primed this one. We wrapped down the fronts of the pillars today. We had to do that before we wrapped or installed the fenders. That way we can get inside of here really deep. It actually is wrapped down to about here. Installed the fenders, obviously. Installed the front bumper halfway, I guess. He actually has this bumper installed with zip ties. It's not the actual bumper for this truck, but I mean it looks good. It's just not correct. It doesn't mount right to this truck. He said he's gonna get a new bumper though. He wants to get like the correct front end on this thing. So one thing to keep in mind when you're wrapping anything at all, you have to plan. You have to figure out what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it up front before you even start wrapping. So as you can see, I cut it off here on the roof. The reason why we did that is because if you look back here, there's an actual physical body line here. Natural body line that's manufactured into the vehicle. If you think about this roof right here, it's probably about 4.5 feet across by, I'd say, maybe 3.5, 4 feet forward to back. Now, you can't physically wrap this in one piece going from the top of the roof all the way down because the roll only comes in 5 feet. So that being said, you have to have a break somewhere, and there's no better spot to break it than right there on the natural body line. So that being said, I followed the seal that's up in the front to give it the best possible, you know, broken look, if that makes any sense. So that's what we had planned here. And then obviously we wrap this so we can get the fender on, so we can wrap underneath it. That's part of the planning you have to do as well. So yeah, every step that you do, you have to plan it out accordingly. Back at the garage today, we're pulling off the bed. We gotta get behind the cab, we gotta get the front of the bed. We got a little bit more sanding to do for the front of the bed. But yeah, we're going the whole 9 yards in this one. We're going all the way. The reason why we want to wrap in here is because if you look from the side, there's a pretty good gap there. You could see in there. We want to wrap all the way down on this side. We want to wrap all the way down right here in the front. There's a little bit of rust buildup on the inside of the bed right there, as you can see. I want to get all that off. We're going pretty much as deep as you can go with a wrap. I'm wrapping this while Steve's pulling this off. I'll be honest, I got Steve under here because I'm not a big fan of spiders, and there's a lot of them in here. And Steve really doesn't get bothered by spiders. I don't know how or why. He's an animal.
Yeah.
This could take a while. we're prepping this last panel. We just have to do the tailgate last. It had a pretty good sized dent here with rust buildup on it, on the S. Down here, the bottom was all bent up. We hammered it down, made it nice and smooth. Up here on the top, this was bent that back in, and we're gonna wrap this tonight. Here she is, almost complete. Looks really good. If I had to rate my first time doing body work, I'd probably do like say like a 5 out of 10 or so. Definitely not perfect, but it's not bad either. A huge improvement from what this thing was. I'm just a huge perfectionist, I guess you could say. We obviously didn't want to Bondo the whole truck up either, so this right here, like dents like this, I'd say this has to be removed, like dent removal, rather than just filling it in. You don't want a big Bondo patch here for no reason. The roof, I mean, if you knew what was under here before, this thing looks pretty good. This corner was all torn up. The seal up here is still, like, this is a chunk of missing seal. So we just wrapped around all this the best we could. And then obviously there were some major holes here. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Maybe like a 6 out of 10. But no, it looks good. I'm super happy with the you know, the complete project so far. And then once the inside of the bed is wrapped or painted black, it's gonna look real nice. That tailgate on there. Down here, there was like a bunch of dents, like all the way down this whole thing. You can't tell until the light hits it, but it's weird. I don't know what that's from. The handles were there, but that was only 1, 2, 3. There's like 35 dents all the way down this. It looks like maybe like where the bed was machined. Maybe inside of there, there's like where they pinched it together or something. I don't know. And there was a large like actual dent like on this fender, which you ain't gonna be able to tell unless I point it out, but it's pretty large. Like this whole section right here was dented. I might even be able to push that out with my hand, to be honest. But oh yeah, look at that. Well, look at me go. That just went from a 6 to a 7 right there. About to install that banner. So here's what we got so far. I have to put this piece of the actual decal on top of the satin black, which is what our banner is going to be. And we're going to have it something like that. And then another decal for the back window. I got to get this all peeled out and ready to go. We'll install that on the back tonight too.
But how could that light possibly reach me with the thick clouds of indecency that surround my poor soul?
What can I say? That was a lot of work. I think we were 3.5 weeks deep. About 3.5, 4 weeks deep. There's a lot of work on this truck, but as you can see, it came out nice. Came out really good. I'm happy with it. First time doing body work. I really feel like for first time it came out great. He's gonna love this truck. He hasn't seen it yet. You guys haven't seen it yet at this point, most likely. But here it is.
Cosmic, 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 cosmic.
White katana.
if you guys like this project, give this video a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more like it, subscribe to our channel. We have all kinds of cool projects coming through here. I think we have about maybe 8 to 10 cars lined up right now. So we got all kinds of cool stuff coming. If you guys want to see it, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.